Now, a Jimmy Mathis exclusive, The Stone Zone, featuring Roger Stone, veteran of 30 years in politics and 9 presidential campaigns, including Richard Nixon, Ronald Reagan, and Donald Trump. Here is Jimmy Mathis on WBAL News Radio 1090 and the WBAL app.
So, in our shared mission to make America great again, I support and endorse our Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan.
All right, we right now are joined by Roger Stone, former Donald Trump top advisor. Good morning, Mr. Stone. How you doing?
Excellent. How about you?
I am doing good. Donald Trump catching a lot of flack for that public endorsement on Friday speaking in Wisconsin. Was that a mistake on his part, do you think?
Well, I guess technically, I mean, look at it this way. Paul Ryan, John McCain, Kelly Ayotte, they are not yet the nominees of the Republican Party. So Trump is intervening in a primary, something Reagan never did.
Right.
And it has, I think it's an inside the Beltway story in terms of voters not caring. I think Congress is in a lower repute than anybody. And this is kind of inside the establishment horseshit.
But isn't that totally in opposition to what Trump has run on? Right? I mean, he's the anti-establishment.
Yes, but now you're at a point where he does need party unity. If you look at these drops in the polls, most recently, they're almost entirely Republicans. And that means he can get them back fairly easily. But it's not Democrats and independents he's losing, it's Republicans.
Oh, but that's my whole point on this. Okay, so look, I'm looking at this. You know, I've been a conservative my entire life. My frustration right now isn't with the president. It's with the Senate. It's with the House. It was with John Boehner. It's currently with Paul Ryan. It's with Mitch McConnell. So having Donald Trump right now capitulate to the establishment, that's not winning me over at this point in the horse race.
No, but you're not the typical moderate suburban Republican that Trump will need if he's going to win. So this was, I just don't think there was much cost of this. It gets you party unity, which gets the media off your back to a certain extent. But more importantly, Trump has an upcoming economic speech, which is really, I think, the centerpiece of his campaign in terms of job creation.
Well, and that was, it's funny you mentioned that. There was a great piece over at MSN today. Can Trump sell himself as a savior of the economy? And I guess to your point, Roger, if he can get back on point, and point being focusing on the economy.
Yeah, he has to demonstrate that he has the ability to create jobs, that he has a non-special interest oriented tax reform program that can work. It has to be aspirational if he's going to get the votes of any African Americans or Latinos. So I actually think this upcoming speech is more important than anything else they've done.
Let me ask you a question. This isn't getting a whole lot of attention. You look at Hillary Clinton right now, and her platform is beginning to take form. She comes out in Philadelphia 2 weeks ago during the DNC, and flat out says that she is looking to grant amnesty, citizenship to the 12, 13, 15, however many million illegal immigrants that are here, then doubles down on that during the speech that she gave in Washington, D.C. last week. This is something that does not land with the American people. Republican, Democrat, doesn't matter. And it's not a Freudian slip that she has. The media is not reporting on it. When does Donald Trump, who has built his entire campaign, for the most part, around the issue of illegal immigration, really start to hammer that point home?
Well, it's interesting in the sense that I note that we had a week in which Hillary Clinton was investigated by the IRS for in the Clinton Foundation, that she got caught lying about arming ISIS. It was not a great week for her, but all that gets drowned out by the mainstream media, who, as you know, like to pile on Donald Trump, but don't hold Hillary Clinton to the same standard.
Yeah, but Roger, he's been dealing with that for the last year. There's nothing really new on that. And I'm wondering if this is a misjudgment on his point. If I'm Donald Trump, I'm coming out, not only am I not going to publicly endorse Paul Ryan, I'm going to say, look, this is the whole problem right now, right? I mean, this is the frustration. It's against the establishment. Here is a leader of the House of Representatives that isn't holding the executive branch accountable. Am I off point on this?
No, I don't think so. I think that Trump has to get back to the basics that got him nominated: immigration, trade, so on, fiscal situation, our foreign policy, and he's got to avoid these kind of detours, these cul-de-sacs, like the discussion of Mr. Khan, although Mr. Khan turns out to be a bit of a con artist, as it turns out to be.
Right.
We now know he received $357,000 from the Clinton Foundation.
Before I let you go, Roger, and this question may sound slightly absurd, but I want to ask you this. Donald Trump came out on Meet the Press, this was 8-9 months ago, and said if he was far enough behind in the polls against Hillary Clinton in the general election, he would drop out of the race. Now, he had to bounce back over the weekend, pretty much within the margin of error, but obviously he got beat up pretty good last week. Is there any situation right now, we're about 100 days away from the general election, is there at any point you could see that Donald Trump would drop out of the election because of the way the polls are reflective, keeping in mind he's been on the record saying he would do that on Meet the Press about 8-9 months ago?
Yeah, no, I think there's no circumstance now that he's the nominee that he would drop. I think this is a vicious rumor that was started by somebody at the Republican National Committee, which was vengeance for his non-endorsement of Paul Ryan the other day, fanned by the Clinton the Clinton spin machine. But let me also say there is no mass exodus of staffers in the campaign. Paul Manafort's not leaving, he's not quitting, nor is he mailing it in. This is all disinformation meant to slow Trump's money and slow his momentum.
How's the relationship, would you say, right now between Newt Gingrich and Donald Trump?
I think it's first rate. I think it's excellent. Gingrich has been very, very helpful.
All right, Roger, talk to you next Sunday at 9 o'clock for the Stone Zone. Always a pleasure, my friend. And what's your new book out?
Go ahead.
What's the new book?
The Clinton's War on Women, the most important book.
And a lot of good books by you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Roger. Appreciate it. Talk to you next Sunday at 9 o'clock, 410-467-WBAL. It is 9:14. You're listening to the Jimmy Mathis Show on WBAL News Radio at 9.